Imagine standing in the heart of the Roman Empire at the height of its power. Marble temples rise above crowded streets. Incense curls upward before the statues of the gods. Soldiers march beneath imperial banners. Magistrates speak in the language of law, order, and eternity. Rome appears invincible, not only because of its armies, but because it believes the gods themselves have blessed its rule. And yet, beneath that polished world, something unsettling is growing in silence. Not an invading army, not a barbarian king, a faith. Small at first, hidden or unarmed, but dangerous in a way Rome understood almost immediately. Christianity did not merely offer new prayers, it threatened the very logic that held the empire together. Today, many people imagine early Christianity as harmless, humble, almost invisible, a religion of private belief, charity, and spiritual comfort. But Rome did not see it that way. Rome saw something more disruptive. It saw a movement that refused to fit into the old religious order. The empire could tolerate many gods, many cults, many local devotions. It had done so for centuries. What it feared was not religion itself, but exclusivity. Christianity did not ask for a place among the gods of Rome. It declared that all other gods were false. That was not just theological defiance. In Roman eyes, it was a form of civil rebellion. To understand that fear, you have to understand what religion meant in Rome. It was not only about private spirituality or personal salvation. Religion was public duty. It was ritual woven into power. Sacrifice, festivals, priesthoods, and omens were all part of the machinery of the state. The gods protected Rome because Rome honored the gods. That was the bargain. To participate in ritual was to participate in civic order itself. So when Christians refused to sacrifice to the emperor, refused to honor the traditional gods, and refused even symbolic gestures of loyalty to the sacred order of the empire, Rome did not see piety. It saw disobedience wrapped in moral certainty. And there was something else deeply unsettling about Christianity, its structure. This was not a scattered superstition with no memory and no discipline. It formed communities. It created bishops, networks, shared teachings, letters, support systems, and a moral identity that crossed class, ethnicity, and province. A slave and a noblewoman could kneel before the same God. A merchant in Antioch and a widow in Rome could belong to the same spiritual body. That kind of unity was powerful. Rome ruled a vast world by hierarchy, patronage, and controlled diversity. Christianity offered a rival kind of belonging, one that answered to a higher king, a higher law, and a kingdom not of this world, which in practice made it harder for the empire to contain. You can almost feel the unease this created. Imagine a Roman governor hearing reports of secret gatherings before dawn, shared meals, strange prayers, and a people who call one another brothers and sisters across ordinary boundaries. Imagine hearing that they refuse to burn incense before the emperor's image. Imagine being told that they do not fear death in the proper way, that they would rather be executed than participate in the rituals that bind the empire together. This is why Christians were not merely odd to Rome. They were unsettling. They seemed to reject the sacred contract that made Roman order possible. And once a group begins to look immune to fear, every empire starts paying attention. That fear was intensified by rumor. Christians met in private. They guarded their rights from outsiders. They spoke of eating the body and drinking the blood of Christ. They called one another by intimate familial terms. In the imagination of the pagan world, secrecy quickly became suspicion. Accusations spread: atheism, cannibalism, incest, subversion. Most of these charges were grotesque distortions, but that hardly mattered. Rome had always been nervous about associations it could not fully see. Mystery religions were one thing. A movement that denied the gods, rejected imperial cult, and spread with stubborn conviction was another. Rumor did what force alone could not. It made Christianity appear not just deviant, but socially contagious. Then there was the problem of martyrdom. Rome expected punishment to deter. It expected prison, torture, and execution to restore public order by displaying the cost of defiance. But Christianity turned suffering into testimony. The arena, the cell, the execution ground, these became stages on which Christians seemed to demonstrate that imperial power had limits. A man who dies cursing Rome confirms the empire's authority. A woman who dies praying for her executioners undermines it. That is what made martyrdom so dangerous. Every death could become a story. Every story could become memory. Every memory could become recruitment. Rome discovered, too late, that there are some enemies who become stronger when they bleed in public. And still, Christianity grew. It moved through households, ports, markets, workshops, and urban neighborhoods. Not because it had armies, but because it offered something Rome could not fully provide. It gave meaning to suffering. It gave dignity to the poor. It gave moral order to the weak and the forgotten. It told the powerful they were not gods. It told the broken they were not abandoned. It told the empire itself that Caesar was not ultimate. That message was revolutionary. revolutionary, not in the modern sense of organized political overthrow, but in a deeper way. It relocated loyalty. Once a person believes that truth stands above the state is no longer absolute. This is why persecution was always about more than doctrine. Emperors like Nero, Decius, Valerian, and Diocletian did not merely lash out at an unfamiliar sect. They were trying, in their own different ways, to restore coherence to a world they felt slipping. The empire was beset by crisis, invasion, economic instability, and internal fracture. In such times, rulers look for unity, not defiance. Christianity appeared precisely when Rome needed conformity most. And because Christians refused to merge with the old order, they became an ideal target for imperial anxiety. They were visible enough to punish, but spiritually stubborn enough to survive. Rome feared them because they exposed the weakness beneath imperial certainty. Yet the greatest irony was still to come. The same qualities that made Christianity threatening would eventually make it useful. Its discipline, its network, its moral seriousness, its trans-regional structure, its ability to create identity stronger than bloodline or tribe. What Rome first feared, it would later admire and then absorb. But before that transformation, before bishops entered imperial halls and crosses rose above palaces, Christianity had to endure as the faith Rome could not break. The empire feared it because it could not buy it easily, could not flatter it into obedience, and could not fully destroy it by force. That kind of resistance is terrifying to a civilization built on order. When Constantine later embraced Christianity, he did not invent its power. He recognized it. He saw what earlier emperors had feared, that Christianity was not just another religion drifting through the empire. It was a structure of belonging, discipline, and meaning strong enough to outlast persecution and useful enough to stabilize a fractured world. Rome first feared Christianity because it refused to serve the empire's sacred theater. Later, Rome ruled with Christianity because it realized that this same faith could become a new foundation for legitimacy. The persecuted religion became imperial language. The danger became the instrument. The rival order became the chosen one. So why did Rome fear Christianity before it ruled with it? Because Christianity challenged the deepest assumptions of Roman power. It denied the gods of the state, defied the emperor's sacred status, crossed social boundaries, turned death into witness, and relocated loyalty above Caesar. It was dangerous not because it raised armies, but because it raised a different kind of kingdom inside the empire, one of conscience, truth, and spiritual allegiance. Rome feared Christianity because it sensed, long before it admitted it, that this faith was not asking for permission to exist. It was preparing to outlive the world that persecuted it. And in the end, that fear was justified, because the empire that once hunted Christians would one day kneel beneath their sign.